Ladies and gentlemen, imagine if the single most important conversation you ever had was the one you're having with yourself. Every word you speak in your mind shapes your destiny, every thought molds your future, and every phrase either builds the life you dream of or destroys it before it begins. Today, I'm going to show you how to harness the voice inside your head, to command it, to turn it into your ultimate weapon, and to talk yourself into becoming unstoppable. Because the truth is, the person you are becoming is already being created by the words you speak right now. And, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pause for a moment and think about the single most powerful voice in your life. It's not the voice of your friends, your family, your boss, or the world around you. It's the voice you hear when you're alone. It's the voice that never leaves you, the one that runs on a loop in your mind every single day. That voice is you talking to yourself. And here's the truth that most people ignore. The words you say to yourself aren't just idle thoughts. They are seeds. Seeds that grow into actions, habits, and ultimately the life you live. If you talk to yourself with limitation, doubt, fear, and self-criticism, that is the soil you are planting in. And do you know what will grow? Limitation, doubt, fear, and self-criticism. But if you talk to yourself with power, possibility, love, and courage, if you speak in a language of growth and abundance, that is the soil you are nurturing. And that, my friends, is what will grow. And too many people underestimate the power of their own inner dialogue. They are harsh, judgmental, and unrelenting critics of themselves. And then they wonder why their results, their happiness, their relationships, and their health don't match the life they dream of. You see, your outer world is always a reflection of your inner conversation. If your mind is talking about failure, weakness, and limitation, your body, your choices, and your opportunities will follow suit. But if you begin to consciously choose what you say to yourself, you create a different energy, a new momentum, and you start to step into the person you've always wanted to become. And let me ask you something. How often do you catch yourself saying, "I can't," "I'm not good enough," or "this is too hard"? Those words are not harmless. They are the chains that hold you back. And the incredible thing about the human mind is that it doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. When you tell yourself a story about being weak, failing, or limited, your body reacts as if it's true. Your energy drops, your motivation disappears, you stop seeing opportunities, you shrink into a life far smaller than what you were meant for. But the flip side is even more powerful. When you talk to yourself with courage, conviction, and certainty, your body, your mind, and your actions align with that story. You start to move differently, you see differently, you act differently, you become the story you tell yourself. And here's where most people go wrong. They wait for life to give them permission. They wait for someone else to tell them, "Yes, you can." Or for circumstances to change before they believe in themselves. But I'm telling you, the person who achieves extraordinary results is the one who refuses to wait. They start talking to themselves as if they already are that person. They speak as if they already have the courage, the strength, the intelligence, and the resilience to conquer their challenges. And eventually, their inner conversation manifests as external reality. And think about it like this. Your mind is the most powerful magnet in the universe. Whatever you focus on, whatever you reinforce with repeated thought and belief, you draw toward yourself. And your words are the fuel for that magnet. If you constantly talk about failure, limitation, and "I can't," you attract more of that into your life. But if you talk about success, possibility, resilience, and "I can," you magnetize your world to align with your highest vision. The people you meet, the opportunities that appear, even your own body and energy respond to the signal you are sending with your words. And now, this isn't about lying to yourself or creating some fantasy world. This is about rewriting the narrative of who you are and who you can become. Every successful person, every champion, every leader, every innovator, They all had a moment where they decided they would no longer allow the voice of doubt to define their life. They began to speak to themselves in a new way, consistently, relentlessly, and with unwavering belief. And they acted on those words. They became the person their words described. That is the essence of mastery, the alignment of mind, word, and action. And so, how do you start? How do you take control of the most influential conversation you'll ever have? It begins with awareness. You must start listening to the words you say to yourself. You must catch the negative, self-limiting phrases as they arise. When you hear, "I can't do this," stop and ask, "Why not? What is possible here? What can I learn? How can I grow?" Replace the criticism with challenge, doubt with curiosity, fear with courage. And then, speak out loud. Yes, out loud. The human mind is powerful, but the voice is even more powerful. When you speak your intentions with emotion and certainty, your body responds. You are no longer just thinking it, you are claiming it. And repetition is everything. This isn't a one-time exercise. You must talk to yourself daily, multiple times a day, until the words penetrate every fiber of your being. The voice in your mind will resist. It will fight back with old patterns, fears, and doubts. That is the test. That is the moment when most people give up. But when you persist, when you talk to yourself with unwavering belief, you begin to create a new identity. Your words are no longer just phrases. They are the blueprint of who you are becoming. And imagine a moment in your life when everything aligned. You felt unstoppable, confident, and fully capable. That feeling was not random. It was the result of your inner dialogue syncing with your deepest desire and belief. That is what you can cultivate every day. You can choose the words that build your courage, your confidence, and your capability. You can decide that your voice will no longer be a source of limitation, but a source of unstoppable empowerment. Every time you talk to yourself, you are either building a prison or constructing a bridge to the life you want. And here's the most extraordinary thing. When you start speaking to yourself in this way, it doesn't just transform your personal life. It transforms your relationships, your career, and your impact on the world. People respond to energy. People respond to certainty. People respond to belief. When your inner voice shifts from doubt to possibility, from fear to courage, from limitation to abundance, your entire environment begins to reflect that. You begin to attract opportunities, allies, mentors, and experiences that align with the new identity you are claiming. You become a force of nature simply because you decided to command the most important voice in your life, your own. And so, I ask you to commit to this right now. Commit to taking control of your inner conversation. Commit to catching the negative, self-defeating words and replacing them with phrases of power, vision, and possibility. Commit to speaking to yourself as if you already are the person you dream of becoming. Commit to repetition, persistence, and unwavering belief, because the truth is, the person you are becoming is not born in a day. It is forged in every thought, every word, and every action. You have within you right now, in this very moment, the capacity to shift your destiny simply by the words you choose to repeat, nurture, and act upon. And ladies and gentlemen, your voice is your superpower. It is the architect of your life, the magnet of your destiny, and the bridge between who you are and who you can become. Every word you speak to yourself is either a brick in the prison of limitation or a stone in the foundation of greatness. Choose carefully, speak consciously, and persist until your words become reality. Keep talking, keep believing, and keep stepping into the life you were born to live, until the person you see in your mind becomes the person you are in every fiber of your being. And now, let's take this a step further, because awareness and repetition alone are not enough. You must also begin to embody the words you speak. Talking to yourself is powerful, but the true transformation comes when your words are backed by consistent, decisive action. Every thought you nurture and every phrase you repeat creates an energy inside you, a vibration that either propels you forward or holds you back. Action is the vehicle that converts that energy into reality. If you talk to yourself about being disciplined, courageous, and unstoppable, but your actions contradict your words, your mind senses the inconsistency. It knows that talk alone is not enough. But when your words and your actions are aligned, you ignite an unstoppable force, a momentum that cannot be ignored, resisted, or stopped. And let me be clear, transformation is not an event, it is a process. It is the culmination of thousands of micro decisions, hundreds of moments of choice, and countless words you say to yourself in the privacy of your mind. Every time you choose to encourage yourself instead of criticize yourself, every time you reinforce a belief in possibility instead of limitation, you are reshaping the very architecture of your identity. You are literally rewriting your destiny. It may feel slow at first, it may feel invisible, but it is happening, and the power of compounding applies not only to money or results, it applies to your mind and your life. Every day, every word, every thought compounds into the person you are becoming. And consider this, who you are today is the sum total of every thought you've had, every word you've spoken to yourself, and every belief you've carried. Your current life, your results, your circumstances, your health, your relationship, is a direct reflection of the narrative you have been repeating to yourself for years. And if you are honest, some of those words may have been holding you back. Now, here is the incredible truth. You can rewrite that narrative at any time. You can change the trajectory of your life, no matter your age, your circumstances, or your past. The moment you begin talking to yourself as the person you want to become, everything begins to shift. But it's not enough to merely say affirmations or repeat positive phrases mindlessly. You must feel them. You must embody them with intensity, emotion, and belief. Your mind responds to emotion far more than to words alone. When you speak with certainty, excitement, passion, and even a little bit of audacity, your body listens. Your energy shifts, your posture changes, your facial expressions change, your physiology changes. You begin to move through the world as someone who already possesses the qualities you are claiming. And people notice, life notices, opportunity notices. The universe responds to those who speak their truth with conviction. And here's a secret that most people never realize. The human brain is designed to take the path of least resistance. It will believe whatever you repeat most consistently. That's why self-talk is so critical. If you repeatedly tell yourself that you are capable, resilient, and worthy of success, your brain begins to align with that belief. You start to see opportunities that were invisible before. You start to solve problems with creativity and courage. You start to attract people who match your new energy. You start to live a life that reflects the truth you are planting inside yourself. But if you allow doubt, fear, and criticism to dominate your inner dialogue, your brain will reinforce those patterns and your life will mirror them. And let me paint a picture for you. Imagine someone standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down at a vast, open expanse of possibility. They are afraid to jump, afraid to take the leap into the unknown because their mind keeps saying, "What if I fail? What if I can't handle it?" But what if instead that person began talking to themselves in a different way? What if they said, "I am ready, I am strong, I am capable, I have everything I need to succeed, I will take this leap and I will rise"? Suddenly, fear is replaced by courage. Anxiety is replaced by excitement. Paralysis is replaced by action. That person doesn't just survive, they soar. And that leap, fueled by the words they spoke to themselves, changes everything. That is the power of your inner voice. It can either freeze you or set you free, and here's where most people struggle. They underestimate how much effort it takes to dominate their own mind. They think that just reading a book, listening to a podcast, or repeating a few phrases is enough. But real change, real transformation requires relentless commitment. You have to take ownership of your thoughts. You have to audit your words and your beliefs constantly. You have to refuse to let negativity, doubt, or fear have a voice in your mind. And when those voices appear, as they inevitably will, you must confront them, challenge them, and replace them with words that empower you. This is not optional for anyone who wants to live at their highest level. It is the foundation of everything. And you also need to understand that setbacks and failures are not signs of weakness. They are opportunities to reinforce your inner dialogue. Every time life pushes back, every time you face rejection, criticism, or disappointment, you have a choice. You can internalize those moments as proof of limitation, or you can use them to speak even more powerfully to yourself. You can say, "This challenge is not a stop sign, it is a signal to grow. I am learning, I am getting stronger, I am unstoppable." The words you choose in those critical moments define your trajectory far more than the circumstances themselves. Your inner conversation is your compass in the storms of life. When it is aligned with courage, resilience, and possibility, you navigate storms with confidence instead of fear. And another truth is this: the people who achieve extraordinary success understand that the voice in their head is not a passive observer. It is a creator. Every idea, every action, every belief originates in that space, and the great ones don't leave it to chance. They are intentional, they speak with precision, they cultivate a dialogue of mastery, excellence, and audacity. They talk to themselves in the way a coach would speak to a champion. They remind themselves of their strength, their potential, and their purpose. And over time, the words they repeat become reality. And so, let me challenge you right now, start a new practice today. Every morning, look in the mirror and talk to yourself until you feel it in your body. Speak words of power, vision, and certainty. Claim the life you want. Say it as if it's already true, and then, throughout the day, catch yourself when your mind drifts into doubt, fear, or negativity. Stop. Replace those thoughts immediately with words that empower, encourage, and inspire you. This is not a one-time exercise. This is a lifestyle, a commitment to dominating your mind, mastering your inner conversation, and shaping the destiny you deserve. And don't stop there. Take it a step further by writing down the words you want to live by, the qualities you want to embody, and the identity you want to claim. Put them everywhere you can see them: on your mirror, in your journal, in your phone. Every time you see them, repeat them out loud. Let them become your constant companion, your personal anthem, your daily fuel. The more you saturate your mind and body with these empowering words, the faster you shift your identity, your energy, and your results. And finally, understand this: the world responds to people who speak their reality into existence. The person who becomes unstoppable, the person who achieves greatness, is not the one who is lucky or gifted or perfect. It is the one who refuses to allow self-doubt to dictate their life. It is the one who talks to themselves with relentless belief, who moves with unstoppable energy, and who acts consistently until their words become flesh, until their thoughts become action, and until their inner vision becomes their external reality. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the architect of your own life. And the tool you have at your disposal every single day is the voice you hear when you are alone. Master that voice, and you master everything. And now, let's dive even deeper, because understanding the power of your words is just the beginning. The next step is to understand that your inner dialogue doesn't just shape what you do. It shapes who you are. Your identity, your habits, your resilience, your capacity to create and achieve. It all emerges from the consistent messages you feed yourself. Think about it. Every habit you have, every behavior you repeat, Every action you take is simply a reflection of the voice you've allowed to dominate your mind over time. If you want to change your results, you must first change your conversation. And the only way to do that is to start talking to yourself as if you already are the person you aspire to become. And here's the truth most people ignore. Your mind doesn't argue with reality, it argues with consistency. If you keep telling yourself you're weak, incapable, or not enough, your mind eventually accepts it as truth. But if you start telling yourself every day with passion and conviction that you are strong, capable, resilient, and unstoppable, your mind begins to rewire itself. Your thoughts create neural pathways, and every time you reinforce those pathways with repeated self-talk, you strengthen them. The more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. You are literally creating a new operating system inside your brain, one that serves you rather than sabotages you. And let's be honest, life will challenge you. Life will throw situations at you that test your confidence, your courage, and your persistence. It doesn't matter where you start or how talented you are, the real differentiator is the person who can speak to themselves in the middle of adversity and maintain belief. That's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. When you face setbacks, the first thing that happens is your mind tries to tell you the story of defeat. But if you have trained yourself to speak differently, to respond to adversity with words of power and determination, you turn obstacles into opportunities, fear into fuel, and doubt into a driving force. Your inner voice becomes your anchor in the storms of life. And now, I want you to picture this. Imagine walking into a room full of challenges, people questioning you, circumstances stacked against you, and your mind is calm, focused, and resolute. Why? Because you have spoken to yourself so consistently and with such conviction that you no longer doubt your own abilities. You no longer let external circumstances define you. You are operating from a foundation of certainty, a foundation built by the words you repeat every single day. That is what mastery looks like. That is what self-leadership looks like. And that is available to every single person who decides to take control of their inner dialogue. And let me be very clear, this is not about pretending or lying to yourself. It's not about chanting empty phrases without feeling. It's about claiming the truth of who you are capable of becoming and reinforcing it until your mind, body, and soul align. When you do this, your energy changes, you carry yourself differently, your presence changes, people feel your certainty, your confidence, your power. And when you consistently act in alignment with that voice, the results in your life begin to reflect it. Your relationships, your career, your health, your wealth, they all respond to the vibration of belief you are broadcasting internally. And the next principle is this: repetition creates identity. You become the person you repeatedly affirm, consistently visualize, and continuously act like. Every time you catch yourself saying, "I can't," stop. Immediately replace it with, "I can, I will, I am capable." Every time you feel fear creeping in, speak to yourself with courage. "Fear is temporary. I am stronger than my fear. I will move forward anyway." Every time self-doubt arises, confront it head on. "I am prepared, I am ready, I am powerful." These are not just phrases, they are declarations. Declarations that train your brain, transform your physiology, and command your actions. The more you repeat them, the faster you build an unshakable sense of self. And here's something most people never realize. Your inner dialogue is contagious, but not in the way most think. It doesn't just affect you. It affects everyone around you. When you carry certainty, confidence, and clarity, people respond. They mirror your energy, they trust you, they believe in you. Conversely, if you speak negatively to yourself, even in private, your energy leaks into your interactions, your decisions, and your results. It subtly undermines your influence, your relationships, and your ability to create impact. That's why mastering your inner voice is not selfish. It's the most powerful service you can provide to yourself and to everyone you encounter. And let's talk about fear for a moment, because fear is one of the biggest obstacles people face in taking control of their self-talk. Fear comes in many forms: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough, and the challenge is that fear can feel real. It can feel tangible. But here's the truth: fear only has as much power as you give it. And the way you give it power is by allowing your mind to narrate stories of limitation. When you speak to yourself with courage, clarity, and certainty, you shrink fear, you reduce it, you take away its ability to control your actions. Fear becomes a signal, not a stop sign. Fear becomes a teacher, not a dictator, and every time you face it, speak to yourself with unwavering belief and take action anyway, you grow stronger. You become unstoppable, and here's another layer that most people overlook. The voice you hear in your mind shapes not only your actions but also your perception of the world. If your self-talk is filled with doubt, insecurity, and limitation, you will start to see the world as a threatening, challenging place. Opportunities will appear small, risks will feel enormous, and obstacles will feel insurmountable. But if your self-talk is filled with possibility, abundance, courage, and confidence, your perception changes. Opportunities appear everywhere, challenges become solvable, people, circumstances, and events align in ways you never imagined. The world reflects the story you tell yourself internally. And now, let me give you a practical approach. Every morning, spend 5 minutes talking to yourself like you are your own coach, your own mentor, your own cheerleader. Say the words you need to hear, affirm the qualities you want to embody, speak with emotion, with intensity, with certainty. And then, throughout the day, continue to monitor your mind. Every time a negative thought arises, replace it immediately with a thought that empowers. Do not negotiate with doubt. Do not compromise with fear. Speak to yourself with unwavering conviction, because this is the training ground of your life. This is where greatness is forged, and here's the ultimate truth. The person you become is not determined by luck, circumstance, or external validation. It is determined by the voice you choose to cultivate, the dialogue you choose to repeat, and the beliefs you choose to reinforce. When you talk to yourself with power, courage, and clarity, you shape your identity, you shape your habits, you shape your results, you shape your destiny, and no one, nothing, and no circumstance can take that away from you. It is the most personal, the most intimate, and the most powerful tool you possess. And so, what will you choose? Will you allow your mind to run on autopilot, repeating stories of limitation, doubt, and fear? Or will you take control of your inner dialogue, speak with power and certainty, and become the person you were born to be? Every word you say to yourself matters. Every phrase you repeat matters. Every thought you entertain matters. The difference between mediocrity and excellence, between fear and courage, between stagnation and unstoppable momentum, all begins in your mind, in the conversation you have with yourself when no one else is listening. And here's what's beautiful: this is available to anyone. No matter your age, your background, or your past experiences, you can begin to speak to yourself differently today. You can begin to claim the qualities you want. You can begin to create the identity that will carry you to your highest potential. And the moment you start, the moment you commit, everything begins to change. Opportunities appear. Energy shifts, confidence grows, actions align, momentum builds. You start living as the person you've always imagined. And this is not theory, this is practice, this is action. This is the secret that the most successful, most fulfilled, and most powerful people in the world understand instinctively. Your inner voice is your most potent weapon, your most valuable ally, and your most transformative tool. When you master it, when you speak to yourself with unwavering belief, clarity, and intensity, You create a life that reflects the truth of your potential, not the limitations of your past. And every day, every moment, every word is an opportunity to shape the person you are becoming. And the power to do so is in your hands, in your voice, in the conversation you choose to have with yourself. Speak deliberately, speak boldly, speak courageously, and speak consistently. Train your mind, train your words, and train your actions. Because the person you talk yourself into becoming is the person you will inevitably become. And now, let's take it even further, because the voice inside your head doesn't just shape your actions, it shapes your reality, your relationships, your health, your financial results, and the very way the world responds to you. Every single thought, every single phrase, every single word you say to yourself is a blueprint. And here's the most powerful truth: you are the architect of that blueprint. You can design it, you can shape it, and you can rebuild it at any moment, no matter what your past has been. But here's the catch: it requires relentless awareness and deliberate action. You cannot leave it to chance. You cannot leave it to the automatic chatter of a mind that has learned to focus on limitation, fear, and doubt. You have to take the reins, you have to choose your words with intention. You have to talk to yourself as if you already are the person you want to be. And let me tell you something that most people overlook. It's not just what you say to yourself, it's how you say it. Emotion is the rocket fuel behind your words. If you speak to yourself in a flat, uncommitted way, your mind hears it as noise. But when you speak with conviction, intensity, and passion, your body, your mind, and your energy all respond. Your physiology changes, your energy rises, your confidence surges, your creativity expands, and suddenly, what once felt impossible now feels within reach. That is why champions, leaders, and extraordinary achievers speak to themselves with power. They know that their inner dialogue drives everything else in their life. And you need to understand this. Setbacks are inevitable, life will push back, people will doubt you, opportunities will fail, circumstances will challenge you, but your inner voice, if it has been trained, strengthened, and empowered, becomes your anchor in those moments. When the world is trying to pull you down, your words lift you up. When doubt creeps in, your words reaffirm your strength. When fear paralyzes others, your words propel you forward. This is how ordinary people transform into extraordinary ones, not because life is easier for them, but because their inner dialogue refuses to accept defeat. And think about it. Every moment that you feel small, inadequate, or powerless, it is the voice in your head that is shaping that experience. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are a participant in the story you tell yourself. And the most powerful people in the world understand that reality is malleable. They know that every word spoken to themselves is either a brick in the prison of limitation or a stone in the foundation of their greatness. They speak, act, and move in alignment with the life they are creating, not the life they fear or the life they have been handed. That is the power of your inner voice. It can limit you or it can liberate you, and the choice is yours. And let's make this concrete. Imagine waking up tomorrow and deciding to speak to yourself differently than you have in the past. You look in the mirror and you say, I am powerful, I am capable, I am unstoppable, I am the person who creates my reality. You say it until it vibrates through your body. You feel it in your chest, your shoulders, your eyes. And then, every time a thought of doubt tries to creep in, I can't do this, I'm not ready, I'll fail, you stop it immediately and replace it with a phrase of power. I am ready, I am learning, I am growing, I will succeed. This is not just talk, this is transformation. This is the way the human mind can be trained to operate at a level most people never experience. And here's the reality. Most people never reach their potential because they never take control of their internal dialogue. They wait for motivation, for inspiration, for external validation. But the truth is, the most powerful source of motivation is your own voice. You don't need anyone else to tell you who you are or what you are capable of. You only need to claim it yourself. You need to speak it out loud. You need to embody it. You need to act on it relentlessly. And the more you do, the faster the world aligns with your new identity. And there is also a hidden superpower in this process, the ability to shape your perception of challenges. When you talk to yourself with strength, courage, and clarity, obstacles become opportunities. Problems become puzzles to solve. Setbacks become lessons to learn. The voice inside your head becomes your guide, your coach, your mentor, and your motivator. And when you consistently cultivate this inner dialogue, you begin to move through life with unstoppable momentum. You stop being reactive, you start being proactive, you stop waiting for permission, you start claiming your power. And let's talk about courage for a moment, because this is where many people stumble. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is speaking to yourself and acting despite the fear. And the voice in your head is either going to whisper, "You can't," or roar, "You will." The more you feed the voice of courage, the more your physiology, your emotions, and your actions align with that courage. And the results, you start taking risks you never thought possible. You start stepping into challenges that others avoid. You start living a life that is larger than the small, safe version of yourself that the world has conditioned you to accept. And here's something most people never consider: your words create habits. Habits are the foundation of every result in your life, and habits are built by repetition of thought and action. If your inner dialogue is filled with doubt, hesitation, and excuses, you will build habits that limit your success. If your inner dialogue is filled with power, focus, and determination, you will build habits that accelerate your growth. Every time you choose to speak to yourself with clarity and purpose, you are training your brain, shaping your habits, and creating an unstoppable identity. And now, think about relationships. The words you speak to yourself determine the energy you bring into every interaction. If your inner voice is critical, insecure, or doubtful, that energy leaks into your relationships. You become defensive, reactive, or disconnected. But when your inner dialogue is positive, empowering, and confident, your presence changes. You communicate more effectively. You inspire trust. You create connection. You become magnetic, not because you are trying to impress anyone, but because you are fully aligned with who you are. Your inner conversation is the invisible force that shapes everything around you, and it's not just about success or relationship. It's about resilience. Life will knock everyone down. The difference between those who get up and thrive versus those who stay down is the voice they speak to themselves when no one is watching. Do you say, "I can't, I give up, this is too hard"? Or do you say, "I am stronger than this, I will rise, I will overcome"? That internal dialogue determines how quickly you recover, how decisively you act, and how high you rise after every setback. And so let me challenge you, start speaking to yourself like a champion. Start reinforcing the identity you want to embody. Start creating the life you want by claiming it in your mind, in your words, and in your actions. Repetition is your ally. Emotion is your fuel. Commitment is your weapon. The more consistent you are, the faster you reshape your identity, your results, and your destiny. And here's the final point for now. Your inner dialogue is contagious, but in a way that is not often recognized. When you talk to yourself with power, confidence, and certainty, you influence everything around you. Your energy becomes contagious, people respond, opportunities align, circumstances shift. Your life begins to move in the direction of your inner conviction. But when you allow fear, doubt, and hesitation to dominate your mind, the same thing happens in reverse. Your energy becomes stagnant, limiting, and constraining. That is why mastering the voice inside your head is not just personal, it is profoundly transformative for every aspect of your life. And every moment is a choice, every thought is a choice, every word is a choice. You are not trapped by your past. You are not limited by your circumstances. You are not defined by anyone else. You are defined by the voice you cultivate, the words you speak, and the identity you claim. Talk to yourself with power, with courage, and with clarity. Speak the life you want into existence. Speak until your body, your mind, your habits, and your actions align with that truth. Speak until you become the unstoppable, powerful, and extraordinary person you were born to be.